Good stuff. The Maimer we're learning tonight is such a must for anyone that wants to understand the foundations of Chassidus. It's remarkable. So before we start the Maimer, the Rebbe, tonight we're going into the weekend. It's Gimmel Tammuz, the Yortzeit Lubavitcher Rebbe Zech Tzadik Levrocha. So tonight, besides the Shir, we'll consider it a shtikl Fabrengen. Shabbos by day, we're going to have a huge Fabrengen. A Motzei Shabbos in the house, we're going to have a huge Fabrengen. When the first Fabrengen, where the Rebbe accepted the leadership, the Rebbe said that Ozla Lakarte, Holach Lakarte Ozla Ben Musa. If you go to a place, you have to, when in Rome. The Rebbe said in America, when a person takes a position, he makes a statement. The Rebbe said, I want to make my statement. The Rebbe said there's three things that are connected. Avas Hashem, Avas HaTorah, and Avas Yisrael. But the Rebbe said, if a person has Avas HaTorah, Avas Hashem, but he doesn't have Avas Yisrael, it means he doesn't really have Avas Hashem.
If he loved Hashem, he loved his children.
Yeah. But if someone has... Magazak L'chaim, we said we have bring.
That should bring?
Yeah, we should bring L'chaim. Well, we're really learning, but it's the Gimmel Tammuz, which we finished to Zak L'chaim. But the Rebbe said in the mission statement that if someone has Avas Yisrael, even if he doesn't yet have Avas Hashem and Avas HaTorah, but it will come. And the Rebbe said we have to go out to Yid, the Yid that has Avas Yisrael, and tell him that it's not good enough that he gives a sandwich in another man's hand. The good Jew that joins the UJA. He has to also make sure that another Yid does a mitzvah. But on the other hand, we have to also tell the Yid that thinks that he has a lot of Avas Hashem, that if he doesn't have Avas Yisrael, that he doesn't really have Avas Hashem. Because I'm telling you almost word for word the way it's in the Sikha. You can hear it on the audio. And Yud Shvat, the Rebbe's first Fabrengen. And the Rebbe said, this is what the Rebbe said is his statement. This is the statement. Inaugural statement. There's no better way to understand the word of this statement than learning to Ois Beis and Mitzvahs Avas Yisrael. When we'll finish the Ois, you'll look at it and you'll see that in the way the Chidush that the Alter Rebbe says here over what the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya. In a way, Tanya Perek Lamed Beis is beautiful, but it's very hard to attain. The Alter Rebbe says, how do you love another Jew?
This is not Alter.
It's not tzedek. The Alter Rebbe says, how do you love another Jew? What do you mean you love another Jew like yourself? Because it depends who is you. What do you identify, Terry? What do you identify as? What do you identify as? If your goof is the main thing. Yeah, if the goof is the main thing, and I identify big with the goof, so then me and you are different persons. I want to look at my interest, not for your interest. But if the ikar is the nefesh, so then whatever is a simcha for you is a simcha for me. And the ikar in your whole Torah mitzvahs is lalas and nefesh elaguf. But you know what? It's a very hard one to get to. It's an easy thing to say, but it's a tough one to get to. The beer that the Tzemach Tzedek is going to have here is a much easier beer, and really in a way, like what Tzemach Tzedek is saying, is you start with action. And you'll get there. Start with Avas Yisrael, you'll get to Avas Hashem, you'll get to Avas HaTorah. Just start.
Take it till you make it.
Huh?
Take it till you make
it? Yeah. But there's a beer nifla. It starts with a beer nifla. Hafla v'afela. Afa bishin is bar hetiv to tam l'mitzazu. Adayin yesh bazeh oy tam nifla ba'oitzem. Hatoy v'sh'odam oitza loy l'chol ha'olam akim mitzazu. Lahipach chas v'shalom k'shematal mitzvah azezu. Shkayach. Page Chof Tes. Ois Beis. Afa bishin is bar hetiv to tam l'mitzazu. Adayin yesh ba'oy tam nifla ba'oitzem. Hatoy v'sh'odam oitza loy l'chol ha'olam akim mitzazu. Lahipach chas v'shalom k'shematal mitzazu. V'oy v'aloitzas sh'atoyre d'lotis. The Alter that says a beard in Tanya, but it's I'll tell you something which is unbelievable. A tam nifla. Someone doesn't usually characterize something as a tam nifla, and the Alter and someone says not only is a tam nifla, but it makes a difference to you and the whole world. I know beer maimer an Hillel niskelil shein movement gamking. Lama beer mitzvah zubin yan shlila madalok soni. Lachavrat loy tavid v'lamar loy ahin shebay maniglu mepshat akosov kedatirgem unkelus v'terachem lachavrat kabosech. Push the kasha. Hillel said to the guy, madalok soni lachavrat loy. Well, you know, it sounds so cynical. It sounds like a cynical Jew. It sounds mamish like a guy, a mikveh talk in Brooklyn. You know, you don't like it, don't do it to the other guy. Mamish what it sounds like. Someone said it has such a, I said, someone said it has a pshat nifla. That's totally not what it means. It's totally not what it means. Because if that's what it means, why can't he just say, but love your friend, like the Tagamunkula said.
Do someone else what you would do.
Yeah, do someone else what you like to do for you, Yandik.
Feed him on Shabbos what you eat on Shabbos.
What to say? Dezelfde chant, dezelfde gala. Venyen kitvoreb elo pirish mitzvos avas v'after achta moicha venyen omoik dahainu. It's an unbelievable pshat. Kamoy she'ein odem roy yechev le'atzmi. Chazal say, that's why the Gemara says in Suvas that shoichad is shehu chad. That the Gemara says why if a person takes shoichad and he wants to do the real din, he can't. Why? Because now that's what the Gemara says. That's pshat. The Ben Yoda says because otherwise it should be called betza. Why is it called shoichad? It's called shoichad shehuchad. He and the other guy became one, and now that you and the other guy became one, ein adam roya choyv le'atzmai. What does it mean? Ein adam roya choyv le'atzmai. Well, you don't know your shortcomings. Well, people are dumb. So that someone said that says a pirush nifla for this. Ein a pirush ein yedei klal chayvoyse. Adarabah. Yuchalidus ulahaven heitev amkus b'chisusa yoisem eriyah zulasa yalov. He knows his own shortcomings much better than anyone else in the world. A person sees what he can see in the eyes. He knows what's in his heart. He knows his issues. It doesn't bother him. It doesn't mean anything to him. It doesn't mean anything to him. To get excited, to get upset from it. It's as if he doesn't see that chisoron. That he loves himself. That it says the pasuk. It means that he knows his own chisoronus, but big deal because it's me. It's me. So I know I have issues I have to work on. When you see the same chisaron as someone else, it's ugliness. It's disgusting. It's terrible.
Well, when somebody else is disgusting,
right?
But you
recognize.
You know it very well.
Yeah. And Elamai, it's b'pchinas makif. The Av is b'pchinas makif. Shul yumshich min yediyah l'dei spilus b'midas. That it shouldn't come from yediyah to spilus b'midas. That I should get excited, upset, angry, whatever it is. There isn't an excitement in the midas. It's a knowledge. It's a peace that's in my brain. There's no excitement. I don't say, disgusting. I'm not disgusted with myself. Why doesn't he see chayv? Shenishka when his battle ba'ava rabba machasa al kol psham b'pchinas makiv, because the Ava Rabba surrounds him so much with b'chinas makiv that he doesn't feel it. It's disgusting. He doesn't feel it's disgusting. He just sees it as a problem. It's a detail. The kasher yidus will say al chayv shaloi, but if someone else points out his chayv, his problems, his issues, his shortcomings, and when he realizes that his friend knows in the kishkas, and sometimes you chap someone's weak point, you chap their bad midah, like so when I see that someone knows my Achilles heels, yirgaz mayois, I get very angry. Why do I get so angry? I know it just as much as he knows. I know it better than it. I know that it's emes. So why am I getting angry that he knows and he points it out? The answer is I'm getting angry not because that how could my chaver imagine such a lie that I'm such a low human being? That's not the case. I know that it's true. רק על שידיעס כבד es bechisusoi או בבחינס יש ויספוילוס. Why is it that this guy, now it's bebchinas yesh v'spoilus, there's like a marker, there's like a yellow marker, a red marker, it's like, it's highlighted. It's bebchinas yesh v'spoilus. Wow, look how ugly. This person has a terrible tendency, has a terrible issue, has a terrible midah. When I know it, it's in my brain. I know it's a problem, I have to take care of it, I have to work on it. But when this guy points it out, and he points with his finger and tells me my big chesonim is bebchinas yesh v'spoilus, and therefore it bothers me, and I'm beroiges about it. When the person himself knows, he doesn't bother him. So it's not a big deal. Ve'yirgez al chaveidoi al izgalu shkila chaveid achlev shalem etoicha hester v'kisa ave shemechusa lo v'lo nira klal v'ata etzel chaveidoi nira yesh v'davar ma. That's the bottom line. Like the story that I tell from my Zayda, Shmuel David Belno was very sharp. So he would say, it's getroffen mit a Mädel. I'm sorry, it's mit Gerät HaShiddach, mit a Mädel. So zot a chisoren. It's a hinkedike. I don't care. It's a halba toibe. She can't hear. I don't care. Zot a hoike. She has a hunchback. I don't care. The mamish don't care. I don't care. Sometimes, it's a nishnageya. It's a nishnageya. So, I mean, this is the opposite. It's a nishnageya. So I know my chesroinus. Huh? Ahoike? Oh, hinkedike tzoleya. Tzoleya al yereiche.
Can walk.
Yeah. One limb.
I heard that other guy in Shafran, she's Zolat, at the Hoppe. She's Bozeret. So the whole give the call, no Shema.
So that's the word. It's a moededike word. How are you? Here. We're on page Chof Tes. So it's a moededike article. Now the Tzmatzot will bring it into the Avodas Hashem and how it affects. How is this the Kol HaTorah Kula? You hate when someone reveals your inner issues. Don't do that to your friend. You shouldn't see his choiv. Whatever issues it is, if it's a bad midah between people or a bad midah towards the Eivishter, don't see it liyesh v'dover that it's yesh v'dover mal. Yeah, avishal choloi gedoyle kolkach. You should love him so much. Until all the pshayim from him should be like your own pshayim. It's like a child, when there's another kid in the class who's ruining the whole class. So you walk into the school and you start banging on the table. But when your own kid is the one that's the troublemaker of the whole class, it's just a kid. And like Baruch Hashem, a few kids that went through the system. A few kids were the best kids of the class, and a few kids are the worst of the class. But I'm always banging my hand at the table, If my daughter is the best kid in the class, how you talking that you're allowing those kids that they're talking in class and being my idea things that, and when my daughter is the worst kid in the class, I'm still banging on the table because it's my child. So okay, there's an issue. She has an issue, but it's not. It's nicht the Ekwelt. It's an issue. So that's the way we have to look at every Yid. So whatever, he has an issue. But just like we see our own child, or we see ourselves, you can't let it that it should be that it gets, it's disgusting. If someone really loves his chava, if you love someone, even if he does something to you raw, But it's not type of smoking. What? It's so shiny. Did it. It's like, okay, shine. It's a boo-boo. Let's wipe it off and let's move on.
Intentional or non-intentional?
It can be even intentional, you know? And if you love someone so much, Betelem neged Avid, Avid, Mayim, Rabim, Liyuchel, Chavas, Avid. So, Kol HaTorah.
Some things are understandable if, you know.
It's a different thing. It's a different thing. It's you get upset. Come on, it's not, you know, but it's not disgusting.
Oh, you didn't say it's moist.
Okay. Yeah, moist. Yeah. Can't look at this guy's face. He looks like a pig, you know. I'm just like, trying to describe something. It's not that way. Why? Why is that the whole Torah? Shneiskalus neshamas Yisrael eilu ve'eilu ve'eilu chodim kilu yikayim echel levad eidei zegorim lamayla inyan nifla sheyesod v'tachlis kol HaTorah kula v'inyan yuchad kuchabrichu shchinten. What's the whole Torah? Every mitzvah, according to the Mekabalim, is before every mitzvah you say l'shem yuchad kuchabrichu shchinten l'yach l'shem yudke b'vav kebichud shlim. Even though Chabad, Al Rebbe said it only once a day, it's not because, just as the Rebbe explains, based on the Rashab, that the reason why the Al Rebbe said so, because the Al Rebbe felt that not everyone shared to all the kavanas of the Arizal. But the Metzius is that every mitzvah does a yichud kuchabrichu shchinta. It's enough to say it once in the morning, and that goes on all the mitzvahs you're doing on the day. Every mitzvah, what's a pshat? Which is the ones that you say before Baal Shama. So mitzvah, it's a davening. So right before Baal Shama, the Al Rebbe put in the Siddur. No, before Baal Shama.
No.
What is it?
L'shem yichud kuchabrichu shchinta.
Not Talis Tefillin, not Spira.
No, that's a good question. Why? But that's the way the Al Rebbe. Truth is based on this. You might understand.
Why did you say Basuri?
No, because the Al Rebbe took off anything which has. Because then, what's if a person? The Al Rebbe's opinion was, what's if a person says it? It's not fair. A siddur has to be shavu l'chol nefesh. That's what the Al Rebbe held. It has to be shavu l'chol nefesh. That's why he took out all the kavonas. You've seen the Al Rebbe siddur zero kavonas. Hayotzim in a klal, because of the chashivas of saying l'shem yichud. So he said to say it once a day, gandik. But the mitzvah says that every mitzvah is l'shem yichud. Why are we doing a mitzvah that there is kuchabrichu, the Eibishter which is called the shemudal removed, and there is the shechina which is malchus atzila emet atoah, emei lo is bina, emet atoah is malchus, which goes just called maternisa, the queen. There's the king is removed. The queen sometimes like intercedes and gets involved. So the malchus, the queen, which is reveals in the world, Eibishter's malchus. So to be megala from the kedusha of kadosh into malchus, yichud kuchabrichu shchinte. The Tzemach Tzedek is going to say that everything that he does is that's midah connected midah. So if I am misyached with all Klal Yisrael, so midah connected midah, the Eibishter is misyached kuchabrichu shchinte. So if I make a yichud, the Eibishter makes a yichud. And the purpose of every mitzvah is to make a yichud. Tzemach Tzedek is going to say at the end of the ois, just like two friends that like to get together. It's a hichtim. So what are we going to do today? We go fishing? We go to a restaurant? It doesn't matter.
They're hanging out.
Hang out. It's just that we can't hang out 24/7 drinking a bottle of beer. So once we'll go fishing, once we'll go bowling, once we'll go jogging, and once we'll go to Alaska. But just a hechetimtza, how are we going to do? The whole thing is that the Yidden and the Eibishter want to make a l'shem yichud. So we do it through tefillin, and we do it through talis, and through mezuzah, and we do it through tefillah, we do it through this, and we do it through that. It's just details. So he told them, what's kol ha-Torah kula? The whole Torah is l'shem yichud, that we should make a yichud. If you're going to be in a siyachid with another Yid, the Eibishter will be in a siyachid l'shem yichud kuchabrichu shchinte. All the other mitzvahs are details. That the emphasis Tzemach Tzedek says it in two ways. One is
the Torah is between Ben Adam Lachaver, anyways.
And even that, there's a yichud. When you do a mitzvah Ben Adam Lachaver, the Eibishter is misyachet.
Right.
So the most yichud that happens is through actually Avos Yisrael. So therefore, that's Kol HaTorah Kula, and the rest details. And the Tzemach Tzedek between the lines says it in two directions. One is if I am misyachet with another Yid, I end up doing all the other mitzvahs, because that gives me the aliyah, and also mitzad Eibishter, that the main hamshach of yichud to the Eibishter into this world is through Avos Yisrael. Because when there's Avos Yisrael, the Eibishter has Ava to Klal Yisrael, and that's the main yichud. And all the other 630 mitzvahs are a manifestation of the yichud. What's the Shechina? The lower Ema Elo is Bina Ema Tatoz Malchus. Matan, she's called the queen. You're just like the king. Sometimes is removed, and the queen gets involved. Mokan Neshamas Yisrael. Kine, the Gemara says, Baba Metziah Shufra the Yaakov ain't Shufra the Adam Edish. The Yaakov Avinu was so beautiful. He was his beauty was Me'ain, the beauty of Adam Edish. So the Pashup Shat is Gashmis. He was Yaakov was a very handsome person, just like Adam Edish. But Chassidus says that Yaakov hoya clothes kol anashamas Me'ain Shufra the Adam, not Adam Edish, Adam the Eibush, the Adam Elyon, Shala Kisei. Who Mared Muz Kved Hashem. That Yaakov Avinu is doime. That every neshama basically is doime to the Eibush like Chelik Hashem Ama. Why is that Tzemach Tzedek bringing? It's a thing that Chassidus says 300 times. That the neshama v'yid is Chelik Hashem Ama. We just came learning the Yigeres HaTshuva. The neshama is one with the Eibush. Why is he bringing all of a sudden the Gemara that Yaakov Avinu was beautiful? Derech Efshe, you could say, because Tzemach Tzedek wants to bring out that the Gashmis in this world, just like we said, the Gashmis, the Yaakov Avinu was beautiful, and that his face shined in an unbelievable Nehira Eloah. So every Yid is as a child from Yaakov Avinu, so they're Kechelik Hashem Ameh, so they shine, they Eibishter into this world. When the neshamas are together, so that what happens? Hashem Mizvosecha meyachad im Yisrael, loyal achod, vein odem delayla royechev leatzmei, v'ozer oiver al kol pesha shel Yisrael. Command that it's a lashon gezoy. Command the mistachre b'yom rabba. It's like gets like little spots get lost in b'yom rabba. Yeah, it's nothing. You can't see it. Inspect. Because the pasuk says Hashem alav imay, because the Eibushter is with the Yidden, so therefore lo yibit. What's the pshat? So it's Tzemach Tzedek pshat. Ve'ein odem royal derech moshel chevel atzmai v'dal. Just like a person doesn't see chayv for himself. Ve'ein pirish lo yibit v'lo yirosh ne'lo mimenu chaz v'sholom. What's the pshat? You could say lo yibit v'lo yirosh that the Eibushter can't see. Chaz v'sholom to say that kehakol goli v'yodua. The Gemara says in on Asaf places, Goli v'yadua lifnei misha amar v'yolam. Everything is Goli v'yadua. It's the whole. What does it mean Goli v'yadua? That's a different type of yediyah. Yediyah with Eibush is not like us. Seichel anikna. I get it. The Eibush to begin with, he knows that Goli v'yadua. Afilo sichakala. When the Gemara says and Bron Shulchan Aruch Semeneish Mem sichakala shmin adam liishtoi. The Eibush, tells him about it if it was inappropriate. So what's pshat lo yibit? Elo k'moshe kosav in the pasuk vayar oven v'lo yizboin. The Eibushter could see a sin and not look at it, not think about it. Shein nimshech minei yedei shlosh yedei sebedait yizbora shein l'gvul v'tachlus they spoilers b'midas hagavura ki ha'ava tishas. Just like by myself, a kop shem tchas ha'ava. And they don't know means I know my shortcomings better than anyone else, but it's like, disgusting, what a disgusting human being I am. Same thing with the Eibushter. When the Yidden are with the Eibushter in the way of Ava, so then even though the Eibushter is raw, but he doesn't see it as an oven, he doesn't see it as an omal. Okay, whatever, there's an issue. So it doesn't come down only spilas but midas that there should be a midas agvura to punish.
The Midrash was the Midrash is
Here he's saying he's Mavatis.
David is not Mavatis.
The Melech Ephraim was the biggest proof. Was it Ephraim? Menashe? That king that was really bad, but they had a Havas Yisrael, very strong.
Right.
Even though they were doing so many bad things.
We see it's not like that.
I don't know. It's a good shiloh. But
someone
said,
Probably.
No.
We want to know world
In the Yeshiva Welt, kocht man so sehr stark in the Gemara, Kadosh Baruch is not a vater. So Chassidus sees it in a little bit different light. Chassidus sees it, that Eibush is not mavater, that even if it's a Rosh Gomor, and he did one little Aveda, he's already, who cares about him? He's already beyond the pale. No, the Eibishter cares about every action of a Yid. But no, but this is a different word, because the word over here is that it's Hamtokas Agudis, because all of a sudden, why is the punishment? It's because it's disgusting, it's terrible. Look at the big pagam. Hashenkin, if the Eibishter is B'chinas Ava Gemuda with Yidden, so then doesn't go down L'midas Agbuda in such a strong way, just like a person knows that they're shortcomings. So maybe I'm going to do something about it, but it's Ve'ein Aroich. So same thing, that's what happens to L'maylos.
Also, that when it comes to cycling, there's accountability. With something else. But then there's the kesher.
No, but it sounds like we're eating like this carbonish. It sounds like it's eating
They
like
say
carbonish.
it
Sounds that way.
famous joke. There's three guys that get handed a little Lubavitcher. That's the little fuck.
Yeah.
So the Lubavitcher, son, the Rebbe's and again, go press them. If you shot a number, taking that Chloe, and look for sure. I told you so.
That's what the Rebbe says. It's one of the earlier sikhs. The Rebbe says that the Lubavitch, in the Paz,
Exactly.
but you
know what? I'll take a tiny break and I'll make l'chaim and I'll say something. There's a guy that comes around here. Shabbosim. Amo mention Tainis, Eret, Abyssal, Ekupta Shadavanen. He comes just for the Kiddush. But what happened was that he gelernt and Achoshe velut yeshiva. And the person, he said, so Yeshiva called him in and he said, listen, when you're going to be a younger man and you're going to be dying from cancer at the age of 35, don't come talking to me then. I heard the story from him.
What happened with the
I'm telling. So what's the tikkun from this guy? So the tikkun is he comes to Lubavitcher Shul. He comes in, he talks, doesn't daven no word. You never catch him davening one word. And he comes in and he comes out. And over time it's slow. Over time, merayid. I feel on davening. He just comes in. And he comes in, he comes out. And it works. I don't know if she comes to the morning.
I'm not going to give names.
No, I don't think they're here. Okay, the guy comes in, he walks in, he walks out. He comes just to, he comes in, he comes out. Yeah, say hello to his friends. I got it.
Lubavitcher, you didn't know what he said.
Echte Litwische Mishpoche, the Yeshivische Mishpoche. Nice family.
About us, people. So almost like here. They got kind of tattoo and what is it? Earrings. And only and they had in this and said, "Get off from here." I said, "Why?" I was like,
Kamashkot, so the pasuk says, "Vayosach halakab."
Ayid is Yid.
Yid Zayid. Vayosach halakab adam. If you look in Iyov, some tzug is teaching it. Mamish the opposite of the pasuk shad there. Vayosach halakab adoi, that the Eibishter protects ba'ad Yid. Halakah hu kel vovkei, which is kelos chesed, and also vovkei. Shu chesed elyon amakif. Kamashkot so beit time. Shlabush Hashem Chois Mainsha. Mashenkem Yesh Pirat Chas Rishon Bisrol. Kol Asher Bom Lo Yikra. V'Yigram Lo Ma'ila B'Pchinas Pirut V'Oz Yeroyes Achoy B'Frat Alof Sho Amafra Derech Litzlan. That okay.
but especially
This guy pointed out other people's chesed. All of a sudden that made that the yichud should not be among Yidden, and therefore it's a terrible thing, and that's why Barcheinu Avinu Klonu Ke'echad, like the Alter Rebbe teaches that the bracha comes through Achdus. Because when it's Achdus, it's Kulo Yofer Osio Muma in Bach, that every Yid is beautiful and the Eibusha doesn't see a mum. Now there is a Gilu Yichud Kuchabrichu. So Tzaddik is saying a lot of things. But the Nakuda is the house is called Torah Kula, The whole Torah is to become echad with echad, and that happens through avas Yisrael. But agav urcha has a side benefit. He's saying that just like by myself, when I love myself, I don't see choiv. So the Eibishter also, when the Yidna ba'achdus, the Eibishter doesn't see choiv to Klal Yisrael. And let's start again from the top line. Was kulach yofi mumeimbach and asaf chenes yich b'chubrich l'shchinte gilo and asaf mak mishim tzisrael avechad vechad zesoi tomitim Hashem alakecha. The Moshe avay alakecha who includes Hashem Yisrael in his tom that the Eibishter wants to be with Eden in the way of Tmimus. Ha'oris chochmei lo b'chol l'seivarim the Shchint, the Eibishter wants that it should shine the chochmei lo in all the 248 Evarim. Same thing. V'aftarach t'moicha ve'en reich v'voisa. Kamoy Kain, Hatatia, Tomim, Chaverecha, Kadeshi, Hashem Alakecha, says Nafshebecha. Sounds on some tzedek, it works in two ways. That also you're going to be able to be oila to the Eibishter, Be'echot, the Eibishter will come down to be Miyachet, Chabrichu Shchinta. It seems like he's catching the Tomim as like a Tom shaping very initial. Still. I don't know, I think Tmimus, I don't think he means Tom, that. I think he means Tmimus. Maybe he means Tom, not the opposite of Balmum. Right. The first ois he was saying that a person that doesn't have Avos Yisrael is a Balmum. And that's what he's saying, the opposite of a Balmum is saying Avos Yisrael. And Lotis Nochicha and Avos Yisrael.
What is not in the drum? That Sal Planetana.
Right, that's from here. Yeah, but I think the closest Mastama is the opposite. He said before in Ois Aleph that a person that has Sinas Yisrael is a Balmum. Someone says Avos Yisrael, says I'm talking.
But each chat saying, I hate that, but whatever. That's not chat to say the age. You only love the
but still, there's a Yisrus there's a stronger Ava, the Gilum.
Just paying attention.
Yeah.
Just paying attention to all our hiccups.
Mm-hmm.
There you go again. Again.
Right. Or the Gilui. The whole mitzvah, every mitzvah is to be after Shubrich Shchinte. The Ikra Yichad Adam the Lele B'Shchinte, but the Nikra Shufet Yaakov. The Tolab is Galas Ava Mitzvah Ad Liz Kameich Lav Shchel Shema as an Asa they came mitzvah Taraf Kameich Shokel Mitzvah Kamei Pirish Lahaz Ber Yichud. It's the Hainu Beis Oifen Tia Yichud Chachmasa Be'Im Chachmasa Be'Talmud Torah. Ba'ava B'Shori Mitzvah B'Shori Mitzvah Kameich Adam V'Zdaba Kapaskacham Chaveri. Sivus is Kashur to Ava Mitzvah. Two friends they want to hang out because they love each other, they like each other. Vayichud, Omim b'dibur shemedabrim edivrei chacham. Omim b'midois, bizgalus avaloi, upomim b'maisa toivus gashmis. Kim yesh ramach mitzvah ramach yebarim malka b'mitzvah zu hayichud b'evazeh b'shor b'chinas kulam boy b'china derazeh b'shor kol hamitzvahs. He's saying that just like when there's two chavedim that they like each other. So they want to spend time together. So one day they're going to do this, and one day they'll do that, and one day they'll do this. So the Eibishter wants them to see Yachid with Eden. So one Yichud happens is different because there's different type of Yehuda. The Torah has a special milan, the Yichud for Torah. Certain milan, every Yichud is. That's why there's a person wants to spend time with their spouse. So there's a certain mila. Walking together as a shtila and talking. There's a certain mila. There's a mile in every type of yichud. So the emes is that everything is yichud kuchubrichu shchinta. But there's a mile through the yichud that happens through Torah, the yichud that happens through this mitzvah or that mitzvah. But the closest is yichud kuchubrichu shchinta. So therefore, that happens best through avas Yisrael. Mitzvah tifat ala semtos malach melech. Prince Oir Makif. Shukoyach Makabal Masidus Nefesh Be'echad. Main Yidei Chochma. By Yidei Shachar Chochma, we said, he give an example. Person is puts on the talus, which is helps him daven. The talus helps him daven. Because it says a Yidei Chochma, Chochma means
why don't we wear Mincha Ma'ariv?
Huh?
Why don't we wear Mincha Ma'ariv?
Because Dikah Tefillah is Taka B'Shachis. Dikah Tefillah B'Shachis. And then it's like, so he may need him by Yiddish Acha Chochma Kmashkosim and Chochma and Yida and Bittel Bevatzias. Nakiru, Kemidus Ayida, Kol Akorev Yoisa, Yoisa Tipple of Abitl. Shenkan Ava me Berochet is Gaber Yoisa. There is a midah ava. Ava happens, abstinence makes the heart fun. So when a person's far, he has, or when a person's very close to the Eibishter, dafka, there's more yid. Wow. So when a person's further away, there's more the ava. ולכן אחר החוכמה באחד היא היראה ביטול במציאות ונקודס הראשים ממני יסלבש בעמקף של הטלס היראה שמבחוץ שקודם לחוכמה. כל זה רק פירוש לייחוד שהוא בחוכמה שבנפש כשמויס הנפש באחד שזה סוד הייחוד שיקראו על ידי מצעשה ואהבת שעוז כולך יופי ראיוסי ותומם תיים השם מלאכך כמו שנדבר למעלה. This is a dogma of an experience that a Yid has with the Eibishter, which is the bottom line is to have yichud with the Eibishter. So the oidish tam lavar tuf tam lamitzah zud behavta l'rach kamoicha ובפרט לליטס הגלוטיסנה פי שקוסם במקמח ופוסק החוץ מתחם לוסן ניקוס שבמדיה שקודס מדיה וסינס חינום צריך ליס ניקוס שבמדיה. So seid gesagt. That the Midian is the biggest clipper. Midian is sinas chinam, and therefore the Eden have to come back Midian to do avas chinam. But anyway, to summarize the ois, that the aloch soni l'chaber l'tavid is not the cynical way of saying you hate something, don't do it to another guy. What's the thing that a person hates the most? It's an active thing. It's not Madaloch Sonim, what you hate, don't do to Fakir. He's saying what do you hate most? When someone's going to point out, scoundrel, disgusting. This guy's a you should work on your Avos Hashem Avos Yisrael so much. You're never going to have it with another Jew that you're going to say, disgusting. That's a chiyuv. It's not a shlila. It's not a shlila. It's a chiyuv. It's not a negative. It's a positive. It's not saying, he's saying work on yourself, this thing that you don't like, that someone would point out, your faults, so you work on your Avos Yisrael that should never happen with another person. And Agaburcha, that's the main thing of all mitzvahs that makes the Shavi L'Shem Yichud Kushabri Chushchin thing. We have a few minutes?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. One of my favorite stories, it's in Atomim, and it's also in Sefer HaTorah, it's Derech Marash.
He was the son of the Rebbe.
No. He was the grandson of the. He married the daughter of the Mittel Rebbe. Tzemach Tzedek's mother was Dvoraleah, who was the daughter of the Alter Rebbe. His wife was the daughter of the Mittel Rebbe. He married his cousin, his first cousin. Yes, Alter Rebbe says like. Okay. We have a few minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. There's a story, moidedik story. And there's a couple of details about Halton Kok, but it's not so complicated. This is one of the stories that the Rebbe encouraged his father-in-law to give him to print. And then the Rebbe published it in the Sefer, in the booklet Hatomim, the journal Hatomim, which I mentioned Shabbos about.
This is the Friedrich.
Yeah, the Friedrich Rebbe told him the story. Okay.
Told who?
Told the Rebbe the story. There was a city Vitebsk, and there was 4 chassidim. 2 friends in one end of town, 2 friends the other end of town. The Michal Aaron was a Balaisik. He was a Balabos. His Yediyas HaTorah was Oifem Benoni. He was a nice guy. One of his good friends was Nachman Lipa Zeltzer, who had a grocery store in Vitebsk. He was more of a loimed Torah. He had a shir kavod mishnayos, l'kutei Torah. He's daven Shabbos barichos, a big family, and he had a difficulty at that time in his parnasa. Then there's another 2 guys, Reb Leib Posen and Reb Shmuel Brin. Reb Leib Posen was a rich man. He lived Kiminig at the Gidam Amufursamim. And even though he gave tzedakah, but he was a tough dude.
What?
A tough guy. Yeah. Im keinen bal mezek toiv b'yoyse b'chol zois nois tzedakah b'yad psuch. Okay. And then he had a good friend, which was Reb Shmuel Brin. that Shmuel Brin was one of the oist mamish from Miyuchosim and the Hasidim and Vitebs. He had unbelievable kishroinus, even though he was very busy. He was a businessman. But he had a geshmak in Chosh Mishpat. He used to love to learn Chosh Mishpat Liyuna, and he used to love to learn Chassidus Liyuna. Okay, and even though his business sometimes was swinging up and down, he was the type of guy, he went from riches to rags, but these little things totally never bothered him.
About that.
Huh?
The biggest song about that.
Okay. In the year 1880, that was the year that 250,000 Jews came from Russia to America because of unrest.
1860?
1880.
1880.
There was one of the things that happened was that a lot of the peasants rebelled against the landowners, and what happened was that Reb Shmuel's business went belly up, and besides, there was a few noichlim that wheedled it into a business that was just a bunch of ramos, and he became a Baal Choiv God. Okay, two friends. One of each ends up in Lubavitch for Pesach. After Pesach, they go for Yechidus. The Bichlaren goes to Yechidus to the Rebbe Marash.
They went without the Mishpacha.
Weiß nicht. The Bichlaren goes to Yechidus. Yeah. To the Rebbe Marash. So first he mentions about his friend. He says, "My Chaver Reb Nachman's Lippe is gefährlich gewesen." And he asks a bracha for him, a bet Rachman. The Rebbe Marash gave him a bracha. So the Michlan says, "Please, Rebbe, for my chaver, I'm looking not for a bracha. I want to have toch." Then the Michlan started talking about his situation. The Rebbe Marash said, "Wow, ich said it was besser wie Nachman Lippe." In other words, this situation was so bad, it was even worse. It's sarcasm, Yiddish sarcasm. He said, "Ich sehe, dein Matzev is noch besser, du tust noch besser wie Nachman Lippe." So Rabbi Chalan said, "Look, I know my faults and I know my issues, so I'm not complaining." The Rebbe Marash put his heilige hands over his eyes. It was misboinen shokala. He said, "I'm spal about chaveru hunan atchila. Maybe should give you atzlocha." The story was told by these people to the Frierdiker Rebbe. He said, "What do you think, Taka? My friend had atzlocha and I had atzlocha, and the side I have a few things here and there, and by the end of the year, by the end of the year, I ended up purchasing 2 huge properties. Each one had a building in it." Okay. Now to the other duo. The Blake Posen goes to Yechidus and he tells, and he talks barichas about his situation. When he finishes, he gave a kretz. Said, "My chaver Shmuel Brin is in a terrible situation." And he added, "Zicher, the Rebbeinu Shalom knows what he's doing. But the Rachmanis is terrible. The Rachmanis is big." Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. The Rebbe Marash again put his hands on his eyes. He was misamek b'machshava, and he said nothing. Rebbe Leib left. He said not a word. He didn't say anything. When he came home, it was a terrible fire that broke out simultaneously in his store and in his warehouse. The damage was estimated more than 20,000 rubles. And to add insult to injury, he did not have insurance on anything. Did not have insurance.
Those days they had insurance.
He didn't have insurance. So
Rothschild wasn't around yet.
huh?
Rothschild wasn't around yet, so the banks weren't really existent.
He's getting close to the 12th of July.
So he was in a big tzara. He went straight to Lubavitch, and when he came to Marash, he cried with bitterness. And he said that by now, it sounds like he is already in Choybis for 50,000 rubles. The Rebbe gave him a very stern look. On the situation of Shmuel Birin, when he lost his entire fortune and he was a Baal Choiv, you were matzdik the din. But now that it came to your warehouse, your store, your Marish Eilemus. What's the big deal? You still have You still have properties. You still own 2 buildings. You still have money in the stock market, and you still have koibas that people owe you. Says that the ani and the zulus. It's 2 different things. He left the Rebbe's room, and for 2 days walked around Beshigoyim. He came back 2 days later, and he asked the Rebbe Maraj for a tikkun for what he did. When he walked into the Yechidus of the Rebbe Maraj, he was so anxious he couldn't say a word. And when he finally asked for a tikkun, the Rebbe Maraj said, "It's Mekubal name of the Baal Shem Tov. Whenever you pass on something on someone else, whatever it is, good or bad, that comes to you." So a person is matzdik din shemaim on someone else, and he's not mitzvah and a moeder rachmim. It's a terrible kittut for him. A person that's mishtatev on the side of his kaven, his moeder rachmim, is rewarded for that. And then the Rebbe said, the Mispal Bat Chaveru Hunen Tefillah, it means if he needs it, and if he doesn't need it still, he's Baal Schoret. So the Rebbe Marash said, I want you to go now and take 3,000 ruble cash and give it to Reb Shmuel Brin, but not the iske, no deals, no nothing. I just wanted you to give him the money, but it must be that you're giving it to Mamish Ba'ayin Toiva B'Koydes Ruach, and that you give a thanks to Rishbonish Shalom that you give it with a full heart, like you're happy to do it. You have Koydes Ruach. Yeah. Ich can give Yida Toiva. I feel good about it.
I've always made people. Right. Don't go drop anybody and be upset.
Exactly. And not only that, you have to give Nocha Toiva Hashem Yisborech that you could do the Toiva Chesed. Then you go to Moscow and purchase Schoyer. The will give you the kiflaim. Okay. So when the Leib come back to Vitebsk, he went straight to his friend, but he didn't find his friend. He heard that his friend went up as to look out for business because there was lumber being chopped, and he was looking into putting together lumber to send to Riga. When a few days passed, and he walks into shul. In the meantime, he's chalishing to go to Moscow, but he knows that the Rebbe Marash told him what to do first, and then so he waited. And there was Erev Shabbos. He walks into shul and he sees that Shmuel Brin is standing, and everyone is standing around him, and he's so happy. And that moment, he was jealous. Ashrei Isha Kochaloi. This guy cannot pay for his groceries, and he's standing and he's so happy. Why is he so happy? Because when he was just in Lubavitch and he heard a maimer, and he heard it a few times, and he knew it very well. Mit namol de gabe get a knap auf den Tisch, Reb Hirschman get a klap, sha, Reb Shmuel Brin vet chazen the maimer from Rebbe Shlita. Yerosef, b'chag v'asel, b'seis and madreges. And over the Shabbos, he told over the maimer 3 times. And because he had the schus to tell over a maimer, he made a big kiddush in his house. Motzei Shabbos, he goes to Reb Shmuel's house with the money. When he comes to Reb Shmuel's house, he sees that he's sitting and learning Biyuna Tur Choshe Mishpat, his favorite limud. Shmuel was makabel ponim b'seivah ponim Yofis. He said, I heard that you had this terrible tragedy. And you know that Chassidus says that Nochas Reifa ve'Meraich. Reb Leib was thinking to himself, wow, this guy who can't pay for his groceries, and Nebuch is a huge balchoy, and he's giving me his as it's the land Choshe Mishpat, as if there's nothing, no worries in his head, and he is not koyach to help me. So Reb Leib says, no. What are you going to do? So he says, he says, first of all, the Vaiblach Zogna Motzei Shabbos are going to talk about happy things. Let's talk about happy things. So I have a lot of trust in the Eibishter. I did my part. The Rebbe told me to look out for a new he heard that in Riga they need a lot of lumber. That I should look out and I should find a good deal. I found a good deal. You found a good deal, and Geld hast du? I said, no, but I did get a chance to go to Lubavitch, and I heard the Maimer, and I heard it 3 times, and it's a moidedik. He told him, by the way, that the Rebbe told me by Yechidus that I should give the message to the Yiddish businessmen that we should stop undercutting the Pritzim. What happened is the Yidden were paying the Goyim better than the Pritzim were paying them, and that's what happened. That made an unsettlement. That's why the Goyim didn't want to work for the Pritzim that were paying them less. Interesting, just like the Rebbe Marash was like so involved in like in details and the little details. Anyway, but the Rebbe told me that he said these words: Shmuel Zainish Messiahish. Go to the mountains and buy good lumber. Tie them up yourself they send them on the rivers with the pallets, yeah. Tie them up yourself, and sell them a riga for a good price. And and he said that's what happened. As soon as I left the Rebbe, I came to Rudnia, and there was two rich people. There was a woman, Dina Wittenberg in Dannenburg. And she had a big dispute with Mr. Schurz from Smolensk, and they agreed to make a zabla, but they couldn't find the middle. Each side takes 1 dayan, but they need a middle dayan, and they couldn't find the middle dayan. And I came to me and said, Rav Shmuel, could you be the middle dayan? I said, I agree. Why not? 4 days and 4 nights, I worked on both sides. I came up with a terrific pshara. Both sides were so happy. I got 300 ruble from both sides. So I see already the bracha that I already got min hatzad. So now that I know that the min hatzad that the Rebbe Marash told me happened, so I know the other bracha will also happen. So the Blev says no, and how are you going to get the money? He said, he says, come on. He says, we don't need the money. The Rebbe is the sun, just like the sun is shines. In fact, this shines, was shines, it shines. I feel for the cats to shine. The cat knows that the sun is good. The Rebbe is our son. So the Rebbe told me it will be good. It will be good. He says, I tell you the truth that usually I stand stronger. This time when I fell into this choivus, it hurt me very much. And even this is Reb Shmuel saying his friends. It hurt me very much. And even though the whole Pesach was so strong, after Pesach I got sick. And in my mind I decided that I'm not going to be in business anymore. I'm going to take a shtel as a second-class citizen. Businessman. And this that's Leo side. I don't. You don't have to worry so much. Yeah. So, but he said that the Kabbai of it's crazy. The Rebbe Marash wanted that he should be a businessman. He didn't want it, didn't let him. And he sent his Gabbai, and the Gabbai didn't even know. The Gabbai just told him these words that the Rebbe said that I know everything, and I'm not masking. And I give him a pkuda that I'm moyer shalat alalev, and when the heart, I give him a command that his brain has to control his heart. When the heart goes after the head, then slowly the heart takes it in, and it's a good. Yeah, mashallah. So, yeah. You shouldn't think that you're gonna.
Don't try to be alone.
Yeah, don't try to be a chacham. I want you to be a businessman, and that's it. Anyway, after the blade hears from his friend the whole story, he said, "Look, here's the story. I have to give you 3,000 rubles." He says, "Wow, 3,000 rubles, so nice. I don't want to take it from you." He said, "But the Rebbe said." He said, "The Rebbe said, Hareni kilis kabalti." So it's as if I got it. So you did what the Rebbe said. I don't want to take money from you. I know you're in a difficult situation. I don't want to take money from you. Okay? Reb Leib went straight back to Lubavitch, and he just went to the Rebbe Marash, and he put the money on the table, and he left. And the Rebbe Marash called in his gabbai and he told him to take the money and bring it to the Shmuel. And with the message, I'm sending you 3,000 ruble and you should be matzliach. And that was it. And Rebbe Leib, once he dropped off the money by the Rebbe Marash's desk, he went to Moscow and he had an unbelievable atzlacha. People over there heard that. So he had choivus, unbelievable choivus. So firstly, they knocked 50% off his choivus, and the other 50% they said that they could pay it up in 2 years. He happened to, when he was in Moscow, he bought a lottery ticket, and he won 15,000 ruble. And then he went back to Lubavitch, and Rebbe told him that he should buy pishta, the Mekach Zoil. A few months later, the price went up pisholish. And the end of the story, the Rebbe Marash saw to it that all four Chassidim became Kvidim Adirim. The end of the story is all four ended up Kvidim Adirim, and that was the end. That's the end of the story.
Fits right in. What happens to someone?
That's exactly.
What do you go? Don't write anything
Huh?
for yourself. Well, write about yourself.
No commentary necessary.
Don't make matzlik someone else's problem. That was one.
No commentary.
You can write about yourself. Don't make money writing about yourself. It'll help.
L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. Eli, happy birthday. Shnas bracha v'atzlocha.
Amen. Rabbi, good Shabbos. Sunday.
I just stayed at the house. Yeah, someone bought it.
They bought it at
No.
what? In the building? Oh, the house?
Should I have more? It's in the house.
Nice houses. That block is very nice house. Okay. Shkoyach for joining us. Good night.